Good afternoon. We got him. Early this morning, state police arrested 31-year-old Angelo Colon-Ortiz in connection with the murder of Vanessa Marcotte last August in Boston, Massachusetts. On the afternoon of August 7th, 2016, Vanessa left the family home on Brook Station Road, where she had been visiting family, to go for a walk, and she never returned. Her body was found later that evening in a wooded area not far from the family home. DNA from a possible suspect was obtained at her autopsy from an examination of her hands at the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab. On Friday, state police found a match for that DNA. They determined that the suspect, Colon-Ortiz, was the match. He was picked up at his residence in Worcester last Friday. He was picked up at his residence in Worcester late Friday with the assistance of the Worcester Police Department. He was interviewed and subsequently placed under arrest. He is currently being held at the State Police Barracks in Millbury, pending his arraignment in Leominster District Court Tuesday. At this time, he is charged with aggravated assault and battery, and assault with intent to rape. Consistent with the information we released to the public, an alert state trooper with the State Police Detective Unit assigned to the Worcester County District Attorney's Office saw a dark SUV in Worcester not too long ago. He looked at the driver of the vehicle and it matched our suspect. Not being able to find a piece of paper immediately within his disposal, he wrote the license plate number down on his hand. He followed that up with a visit to the suspect's apartment. He was not there at that time. He left his card and asked for a return phone call. That phone call was never made. He subsequently went back to the apartment on the next day, and the defendant provided a buccal swab, and his DNA was obtained, and that match was confirmed yesterday. I'd like to thank the Massachusetts State Police, including the state police assigned to the Worcester County District Attorney's Office, led by Detective Lieutenant Alan Hunt, the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab, the Commonwealth Fusion Center, State Police Crime Scene Services, the State Police CERT Team, the State Police Underwater Recovery Unit, the State Police Air Wing, and the State Police K-9 Unit, VFAS, the Worcester Police Department, the Central Mass Police Chief, and two special thanks, one to Princeton Chief of Police Michelle Powers and the Princeton Police Department for their unrelenting effort in this case to help us find Vanessa's killer, and also to Colonel Rick McKeown and Secretary of Public Safety Dan Bennett for the resources in this case. As you can just tell from the list I've read, we had every available resource in this case to find Vanessa's killer. I'd also like to thank the public for the over 1,300 tips that came in, especially to the people who came in with the tips early, where it was consistent throughout this that we were looking for a dark-colored SUV, we were looking for a Hispanic male. And Vanessa's family at this time continues to ask for privacy. This is still a long road. We are not ready to speak publicly. There is also one other person I'd like to thank in this case, and that would be Vanessa Marcotte. It was through her determined fight and her efforts that we obtained the DNA of her killer. Are there any? And at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Colonel Rick McKeown with the State Police.
Thank you, DA. I just have a couple of brief thoughts. I too want to recognize the superb work of the State Police Detective Unit, the Worcester District Attorney's Office, and the Princeton Police. Our detective unit is led by Detective Lieutenant Al Hunt. His team does a phenomenal job. They've worked extremely hard. I'm very proud of them. For the last 8+ months, seasons changed, holidays came and passed, and Miss Marcotte's family waited and waited and hoped. As the months passed, the DA's office and Princeton Police and state troopers never stopped working. No one ever stopped thinking about Miss Marcotte and how we could solve this case. We never lost faith that this day would come. There's still much work to do as we work with the DA's office to prepare this case for prosecution. Our thoughts today remain with the Marcotte family and their loss that can never be restored.
Thank you, DA. Thank you, Colonel. First and foremost, I want to thank the Marcotte family for their patience and support during the past 8 months. It's been a very long time. I want to thank DA Early and his staff for all their help during the Marcotte investigation. I want to thank Colonel McKeon and the State Police for all their assistance and resources they provided during the Marcotte investigation. I especially want to thank the Massachusetts State Police detectives assigned to the DA's office. They've worked extremely hard on this case and have spent countless hours on the investigation. I'd also like to thank the men and women of the Princeton Police Department who have worked extremely hard on resolving this case. Lastly, I'd like to thank the town of Princeton and its residents for the outpouring of support during this investigation. Your kindness and support is very much appreciated by all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Colonel. I also want to thank, as I mentioned, the Central Mass Chiefs and Worcester Police Department Chief Steve Sargent for the help that they gave us last night in the arrest, and the help that they've given us today with regards to search warrants that have been executed.
Joe,
Are there any questions?
why hasn't he be charged with murder?
You know, the DNA hit came in late yesterday afternoon. This part of the investigation is still being actively worked. I anticipate that there will be a murder charge. This is the charges we determined at the time with the evidence we had were the best to go forward at that time.
Joe, can you say naming an Angelo Colon Ortiz? Is that correct?
Angelo Colon Ortiz.
How do you spell that? C-O?
We'll give you the spelling in a few minutes.
Is this man a U.S. citizen?
We don't know that at this point. Again, the information we have, I can't make a statement with regards to that at this point.
How did the arrest go?
To Princeton.
How did the arrest go? What did he say anything? Did he? Was he resistant? Did you have to take him down?
No, he was not resistant. The state police, assisted by the Worcester Police, effectuated a stop at the house last night. He was brought down for questioning, and it all went rather smoothly. They really are professionals, and I thank them for that.
Did he ask for an attorney representation?
He's asked for an attorney, yes.
What's his connection to Princeton?
Again, that's early in the investigation as well. We do believe that he worked in the area and was working in the area at, right around the time of Vanessa's disappearance.
There's a connection to the area where she was found, where he was working?
There's a connection to the area. I can't go any further than that at this point.
What is his job?
Excuse me?
What is his job?
Can't go any further at this point. We have some statements that have to be verified. We don't want to suggest that he was working somewhere where he was not working. As you can imagine, cast any aspersions with regards to any company or organization. We do believe he was working in the area and had been for some time.
Temporarily?
Where did that happen exactly? Can you tell us more about those circumstances?
Yeah, it happened in Worcester. And I mean, it just goes to the job that these people do every day. This is a guy, this information was put out. He was driving in Worcester. He knew we were looking for a dark SUV and a Hispanic male. He saw it. He immediately reached for a piece of paper. Didn't have a piece of paper. He went to his hand, wrote the plate down on his hand, followed up with a card. When he didn't get the call, he followed up the next day with another trooper, and he got a buckle swab.
And where exactly did that happen?
It happened in Worcester. I can't go any further than that with regards to that at this point.
Is he a U.S. citizen?
No, he does not have any documented history with law enforcement that we know of. That is still being investigated as well. Some of the information that we have gotten, we're relying on from him. So there's a lot of verification that has to be done. Again, this DNA, driving back to the Massachusetts District Attorney's Prosecutors Conference yesterday, and this has been a roller coaster all along. Got a call at 3 o'clock, we got a DNA hit. You can imagine everyone's reaction. We came out, saw the family. We left the family's house at about 5 o'clock this morning. The family's been tremendous to suffer a loss like this, and just, the strength that they've shown working with us all along the way. This, I really, our hearts go out to all of the family and to Vanessa.
Did he admit any involvement in the interview?
Excuse me?
When he spoke to police, did he admit any involvement or deny it?
I can't get into that at this point.
Are you looking at this as a random act, or did he have some familiarity with her?
That's still part of the investigation. There's some evidence we have that puts him in the area that we're very comfortable with, but I'm not comfortable disclosing it out. It just has all come together rather quickly.
Did he have connections to New York where she was living?
Again, part of the investigation, initially, you know, we think he's from the area.
Does this man speak English?
An interpreter was used last night. The extent of that we're not, he does speak some English.
Anyone else suspected in this?
You know, that's still part of the investigation. We're not ruling anything out at this point, and you know, we're going to let the professionals keep, our state police, you know, and local police departments still keep doing their jobs. We haven't ruled out anything at this point, but we're very comfortable that we've got Vanessa Marcotte's killer.